Dark oxygen.
It sounds like something from a science fiction novel or a Dungeons and Dragons ability of some form or variety. As the dragon turns to flee, he lifts his tail and casts Dark Oxygen. Does a 30 hit? I'll need a Constitution saving throw. Dark oxygen is neither of these things, yet it is the topic of a recent scientific discovery, so let's dive into it. But first, if you want to help the channel, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. It's free and it tremendously helps. And if you want to go the extra mile, I do have a Patreon as well. There's the Mineral of the Month Club and some wonderful channel sponsorships here and there. Check the pinned comment or description wherever you're watching. Let's get on to the video. What is dark oxygen? It turns out on our dynamic planet that more than just plant life gives off oxygen. There's also oxygen-producing rocks. And I know that sounds wild, but it is the topic of research that was published last month, July 2024, in the journal Nature Geoscience. And not to sound like my next D&D campaign, but 12,000 feet under the ocean's surface is a world of eternal midnight. In the deepest reaches of the ocean, sunlight cannot penetrate deep enough to allow for photosynthesis, yet the gas necessary for life is abundant in this region. Why? A potato-sized battery rock. And I should clarify, in some portions of the deep ocean. But historically, oxygen has been deemed merely as a product of life by scientists, being produced by plant life like trees and algae. And they do that, but this discovery has turned the scientific community on its head. In fact, when the study's lead author Andrew Sweetman first measured dark oxygen in 2013, he, by admission, quote, just ignored it because I'd always been taught that you only get oxygen through photosynthesis, end quote. Sweetman was part of a team measuring oxygen levels in the deep sea, trying to gauge oxygen consumption by deep sea organisms. But the team found the oxygen levels were increasing instead of decreasing. Sweetman ended up sending his sensors back to the manufacturer for calibration repeatedly because they believed the machinery was faulty. I should point out that this was in the Clarion-Clipperton zone. Important detail. Coming back for a different firm in 2021, Sweetman again detected oxygen increases instead of decreases, and then had cause to hunt for a source. A process of elimination ensued to rule out microbes of any kind, and Sweetman eventually zeroed in on some rock-like lumps known as polymetallic nodules. These form as metals from the water deposit around shell fragments, shark teeth, stuff like that. And that portion of the Clarion-Clipperton zone is littered with these rocks. Long story short, the team was unsure how the rocks were causing oxygenation. But after hearing somebody in a documentary about deep-sea mining call one of these nodules a, quote, deep-sea battery, unquote, inspiration struck. If you take a standard AA battery, put it in salt water, you will hear a fizz and also see little bubbles coming off of the battery. This is a process known as electrolysis. Electricity is splitting the water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen. Now, electrolysis of seawater needs a target of 1.5 volts, and the rocks measured as much as 0.95 volts. But scientists believe the rocks clumping together overcome this hurdle. Anyway, we live on a dynamic planet. What do you think the ramifications for this are? Let me know in the comments. And I guess, I'll deep see you in the next video. Cheers.